You are listening to the Enormocast.
So let's say you've taken the advice you've heard on the Enormocast and played it ice climbing cool with that special climbing friend, going on trip after trip like your family, even though you've had the hots for him or her since they burned you off your proj and flips in a ratty pair of Yojimbos from the Lost and Found. Well, if the perfect belay isn't conveying your longing, perhaps the climbing-inspired jewelry and accessories of Peter Gilroy will help you put the punctuation on that date that's not a date, might be a date, climbing date. At peterwgilroy.com, you'll find jewelry, money clips, belt buckles, hats, and more, all inspired by the rock in the mountains on which your love has flourished. So please, before you resort to the lean-in or the forgotten sleeping bag or the embarrassing confessional after a 12-pack around the campfire, try a classier approach with a spectacular gift from peterwgilroy.com. And if you crash and burn, know that Peter and Enormocast still appreciate your support, even if your partner does short rope you to the curb. And remember, enter Enormo at checkout for a discount. But keep that part to yourself.
We gotta get
Listen, where you playing in town? You playing here?
We're doing the Enormo Dome, whatever it is. It's terrific.
Oh,
It's
yeah, the
big
big
house. We
place
sold
that
it out.
side of town. That's a
Very
big
nice.
place. You sold
What's
it
that,
out.
20,000
I'll say.
We really should.
Look, you better get up there before you panic. Those pens are loose. You're very good. I have really enjoyed climbing with you. We'll make it. I don't think so. But we shall continue with style. Good weather, bad weather. Now or later, anytime is good for climbing.
Today's show is brought to you by Black Diamond Equipment, with support from Maxim Ropes.
And the fine folks at La Sportiva. And don't forget our charter sponsor, Bonfire Coffee. Go to bonfirecoffee.com and enter Enormo at checkout for a discount on great coffee and to support the Enormocast.
And now back to the show.
Hello and welcome to the Enormocast. This is your host, Chris Kalous. It is about 9:30 Mountain Standard Time. Yes, we're back to Standard Time in the dark times. This is episode number 92, a conversation with Enormocast favorite, James Lucas. Lots gone on in James Lucas's life since we last spoke to James. Yeah, so we're going to find out about what's going on with James. Get a lot of requests for old James to come back on the show. And it's always a pleasure. So happy to have him. Get to that in just a second. The big thing I want to do on the intro today is thank the folks that have been kicking down donations to the show. Much, much appreciated. And though I have some sponsors, the donations are still the big income. And though this is a labor of love, there's the word labor in there. So it's nice to get paid for the work that you do, and I appreciate it. I do eventually get around to thanking those people personally. I fall behind on that, but I catch up eventually. So, thanks, heartfelt. Glad you decided to kick down. But there are other ways to help out. You can go to enormocast.com, click on the Help Out tab, and catch up with a few things that don't cost any money. And if you do feel compelled to kick down, there's a donate button on there as well. If I've entertained you, if I've gotten you through miserable days, you can help me out. You know, even old Ira Glass begs for money once in a while, so I don't feel too bad about it. So the one nice thing about the coming of the darkness that closes in on you before you can go outside and climb after work, is that I usually end up with a little more time to work on this project. So hopefully I'm going to shake things up over here. I've been in kind of a rhythm, for better or worse, with putting out some interviews, some stuff that I kind of backlogged this summer. Good stuff, but you know, I haven't done anything weird or out of the ordinary in the last few months, so see what I can do to come up with that. Plus, I'm rolling in on 100. What am I going to do for 100? Should I do something special, like greatest hits? I don't know. Interview my mom? That actually might be fun. I don't think it'd last that long. But anyway, so yeah, hopefully we'll have some time to work on all that stuff because, heck, it's dark outside and cold and miserable, so might as well sit inside on my computer. Anyway, any and all critiques are welcome. Well, that's not really true. If you have suggestions to improve the show, those are welcome. Just slandering me, not exactly welcome. Anyway, not that happens very often, but hey. So you can reach me at chris@enormocast.com. You have any more suggestions, talk about anything, who knows, maybe I'll toss off a listener mail coming up, get Simon and Steve back in the studio for some advice. All right, then, let's get to a conversation with James Lucas, the man, the myth, the legend. Some call him the last great American dirtbag. Some might call him the last stone master, and some just call him Peaches. But first, a word from our sponsor. Actually, it's just a word from me talking about our sponsor. You know, those guys don't make me say anything. I just make these commercials up. That's pretty cool. I haven't offended them yet, so I just try to amuse myself. See what happens. Hey folks, did you know that Black Diamond makes ski gear? Skis, poles, skins, boots, gloves, pants, jackets. Hell, they even make this thing called the Jet Force, which will float you to the top of an avalanche, then serve you brandy while you wait for help. But who cares? That shit's crazy. We're climbers, and it's still climbing season somewhere, right? In the collective Enormo-conscious, it's the climbing gear that matters. The beaners, the packs, the camelots. The camelots. Are we still arguing about that? They're the best. So let's keep climbing, people, and not go gently into that good night. But rage. Rage against the dying of the autumn light. Little Dylan Thomas for you there, people. You're welcome. Yeah, you can go skiing, and skiing's pretty fun. But climbing's better. Hell, even ice climbing has to be better than bobbing around in an avalanche. But that Jet Force thing is pretty cool. So check it all out at blackdiamondequipment.com and tell them that the Enormocast sent you. Cool. Well, let's go ahead and get started then.
Okay.
And let it roll. So, hey, James, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, Kalus?
The return of James Lucas to the podcast. Much requested, I might add, that I very frequently get an email that's like, you got to have James Lucas back on. Or my favorites are like Cordes, Kennedy, and Lucas.
I'm glad I'm third.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm not quoting the email. You might have been first.
Yeah. Well, hopefully above Cordes.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't. Kelly, if you include live shows and stuff, I think Kelly is a 3-timer. I think Andrew Bisharat's a 3-timer. HK might, if you count his. I did a 2-parter in the beginning. So if you count those as separate, he's 4, but otherwise he's the 3-parter.
Yeah,
so
that's pretty good.
Yeah, so you're in good company.
This is my 3rd time.
Yeah, and
I'm psyched.
I want to say, yeah. So, and actually, I don't think anybody else has gotten like 3 full episodes.
Oh, really?
Because those guys came into the 3s through a live episode where they're just on a panel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So there you go.
Nice.
You're
I
like
feel
the
super
king
special.
guest of the Enormocast for the moment. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. All of a sudden, you'll get 3 interviews with some hot climber chick.
Yeah. Or if I don't put this out.
See? Oh, yeah.
If like last time, I'm just like, I don't know about this.
Fuck, this is.
No, I took a chance, and now it's Enormocast history. So thanks for coming. We are at OR. We're at the undisclosed location still, banging them out here at OR. Like I've been I've been hammering out these interviews at the trade show, which sometimes feels like I'm cheating or because they'll get so backlogged, but they're not really timely, so it doesn't matter that much. And people got to understand, like, the face-to-face thing is really difficult. And when I'm at OR, it's like half the time it's the only time I ever see you.
Yeah.
Or all these other people that come from other parts of the country. So it's a good place to get them done. But, man, I've been just, like, cranking them out. So if I kind of just, like, get all spaced out, just keep talking. It's being recorded.
Oh, sweet. I'll just start rambling.
Yeah, that's going to happen anyway. But this year, we spent a bunch of time in Spain together. Yeah. So we actually did see one another.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, and I'm glad you're here because I kind of did want to get something done in Spain when we were there because, I don't know, it's just kind of like James Lucas on the continent, you know, like wandering around Spain. But I did the same thing there where I like lined up all these freaking interviews and I just like powered them out and just kind of ran out of time. Yeah. So anyway, welcome to the undisclosed location.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to see you. How's your show going, as they say in the parlance of the OR?
I'm just like trying to really embrace the OR show. I'm trying to seem like a better person without having actually improved at all. That's like the nature of the OR show.
That's nature of like, I think that's like you just nailed Facebook too, actually.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Pretty much like that's my
All
entire
social
life.
media
Yeah.
is basically trying to be a better person without actually becoming one.
Yeah. I like take a champagne glass out and like pour some malt liquor in it.
Right.
And that's
on Facebook. It looks like champagne.
Yeah. It
No
looks
problem.
like champagne.
Yeah.
Yep. Even like standing next to you, you'll think it's champagne.
Yeah.
It's really just Old English.
I don't know. You can smell that stuff usually.
Yeah.
At least on somebody's breath, that's for sure. Let's talk a little bit about OR. Like, I mention it on the show all the time, and as if everybody out there should know what it is. But of course, if you're not in the industry,
right,
you have no idea what I'm talking about. This is like the meeting of all the outdoor companies, and everyone converges on this place, and it's mostly for business.
Right. It's outdoor retailer. It's mostly for like retail shop buyers to come in and see the next year's goods.
Yeah.
So like the spring and fall lines and the winter stuff, to like go up to the Patagonia booth or La Sportiva or Black Diamond and see the new jackets, the new shoes, the new cams, and like buy stuff for their shows.
Yeah. So it's like legitimate business, but traditionally, and I came to one of these in the 90s,
Yeah.
right? And then it was a long period where I wasn't at any, and then I was writing for the Mountain Gazette, so I came for that, and then the last few years it's been for the Enormocast. But traditionally, there's always been these climber dirtbaggy people like hanging around, and I don't know what, because it's not really skis, although some of the like the backcountry ski companies have booths at these, but it's outdoor clothing, water sport kind of stuff,
Right.
sup boards, and it's not total kayaks, but some kayaking stuff, and but then there's the whole section that we care about is the climbing section,
Right.
And yeah, traditionally there's always been these like climbers like hanging around. Either they got on some friends got them in on their like badge, or half the time they're using someone else's badge because it's secure. Like you can't, like normal people can't just walk in off the street.
Yeah.
And so it's always funny because, there's like these climber dudes and girls like kind of trying to pimp free gear and, get some, like they might come here for 3 days and have like one 30-minute meeting with like one company.
And they spend the rest of their time trying to like slide a Gore-Tex jacket off a mannequin.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and just like
Hoping
checking
that
their watches for the free beer that comes out at 4. Because that's all. I haven't even hardly been in the show because I'm doing this, and but I try to make sure to be back there when the free beer's flowing.
Yeah,
because what the heck? And I also definitely get my year's supply of lip balm.
Oh, nice.
Because all the different booths have like little goodies you can just grab.
Yeah.
And the lip balm one is a big one. So I try to walk away with like 5 or 6 tubes to get me through the year until I come back. And keychains. I don't have enough keys for all the keychains I get, but
I'm a big fan of all the like little Snickers.
Yeah. The mini Snicks.
Yeah.
And then you can just like
candy.
swing by like Goo or whoever and just like load up on whatever they're pushing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. But
yeah.
And all our friends that work in the industry complain about it. Mm-hmm. And actually, I'm kind of feeling that this year because I hammered myself so hard with all this business.
Right.
And normally, like, I'm like, I have like one interview a day, and then I'm just like chilling. And I'm just like, I don't know what you guys are complaining about. It's super fun. Like, I just hang out, and talk to people, and like eat free food, and like get lip balm and go home. It's like. Anyway, so what's your deal here? Who are you like? What are you doing
at the OR show? Well, I met with BD and tried to I'm trying to hustle some sponsorship as an athlete, and so I talked to my friend JT, and I emailed him a little while ago. I was like, "Hey man, do you think we could meet up and have a meeting? I want to talk about being an athlete." And he was like, "No." But if you want to be an athlete, but if you still want to hang out and talk for 30 minutes, we can do that. And I was like, okay. And the meeting went like okay, but one of the highlights was like JT was standing up on this balcony, and he like pointed down at the crowd, and Alex Honnold was like walking in front of me.
Yeah.
And Alex looked up and waved because he thought JT was pointing at him, of course.
Right.
And JT just shook his head and kept pointing. And Alex turned around and realized he was pointing at me. It was like one of those small victories in life where you're just like so excited.
Oh man, I can so picture that. And that probably was some big ego stoke for JT to get to wave off Honnold.
Yeah.
Just be like, no, I'm not pointing at you, son.
He was like, no, peaches. Down there, peaches.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of inside baseball, the whole OR show, but I mean, it's still like, at least within the climbing thing, it's still like, the peoples and the tribe and everybody getting together. And again, like for someone like me who's not working so hard, although again, I blew it this year, but I end up just seeing people I haven't seen forever. And, and the same reason I can do these interviews is another great reason to come is because I see these people that I don't ever see, and you just stand there shooting the shit for hours, about different things. So, and everyone knows I love to talk about climbing, and like that's all you can do all day if you want.
Yeah,
your latest trip, their latest trip, where they're going, where they're coming from, so it's pretty fun.
Yeah, that stuff is really cool.
So so it's not too hard to kind of understand what goes on in the booths in the back rooms, and I don't care.
Yeah.
It has something to do with money exchanging hands. So that's cool. Anyhow, so I just wanted to talk a little bit about OR because we have this weird, I'm always bringing it up on here. And like, so we have this weird kind of mode here that's a little bit different than most people. So, but if you live in Salt Lake and you can rustle up a badge, it's worth going. And I know a lot of people do. So
it's cool to check out. There's also like really cool events surrounding it. Like you get to see the Real Rock movie, the Psycho Comp, the drunk people.
The drinking.
Drinking.
There's lots of drinking that goes on.
Lots of like 3-2, which is okay.
Yeah, it gets you bloated a little bit.
Yeah, it leaves you more waterlogged than wasted.
Yeah, I brought these in from Wyoming. So.
Oh, nice. That's a good call.
Yeah. Anyway, cool. Well, let's move on to Spain.
Okay.
So we went to Spain.
Yeah, that was
awesome. I ran into you in Spain in a couple different places. Did we act? No, we didn't see each other in Chulia.
No, just in Sirona.
Yeah.
I was down in Andalusia.
Oh, right. That's where you were before you showed up north.
Yeah, which was cool. Like I was in Spain like 70 days. It was my first time out of North America. I've been to America's Top Hat, and I've been to Tijuana once. And so it was like my real first like international trip. And I spent like the first third of my trip in like southern Spain, which was really cool. It was like really difficult because I don't speak any Spanish. And nobody speaks English down there.
Yeah, it definitely I almost feel like more people in South America spoke English than in Spain. At least outside of the cities. The cities are a little bit better.
Yeah.
But in the countryside, forget it.
Yeah. It is wild. This is like a really good experience for me. But also like really difficult, just being like, wow, like I haven't talked to anyone all day because I don't know how to like say anything.
It's a weird feeling, isn't it? Yeah. And when you finally do speak, it's almost like your jaw hurts.
Yeah.
Because you've been like clenching your teeth in fear of someone actually speaking to you.
Yeah. And then I say something like, mi perro es muy fácil.
Your dog is really easy.
Yeah.
Did you really say that to somebody?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. La ruta es más fácil.
Yeah, it's more easy. Yeah, that's useful.
Yeah, that's useful. But sometimes the dog is easy too, and that's good to tell people. I guess you just never know.
Right.
And so I was there for like the first third of my trip, and then I went up to Sirona. And that was cool. I thought the climbing down south was a little bit better. The rock quality. Like around Jaén and Reguichillo and stuff like that. But Sirana had like more of a scene. It
Right.
was easier to find people to climb with. It was a lot more concentrated, and that part was really cool.
So do you mean the rock was better quality or more interesting?
I thought it was slightly better quality.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And like down by Haiyan, there's like 1,000-foot limestone wall that looked amazing. But we climbed at this cave called Otinyar. It's got like a bunch of hard, steep sport climbs with tufos and some like Andra 9B project and a bunch of these caves that were really cool. But there was always like goats that like slept in the caves, so they'd be filled with goat shit at the base.
Right. Yeah, that smell.
Yeah.
I can always like get a whiff of it. You're like, oh yeah.
Yeah, and you go home and you check for fleas.
Yeah, because even over, like, yeah, all over Europe, anywhere there's limestone, there tends to be goats hanging out. Like, Kalymnos is like, I mean, goats are everywhere.
Yeah.
And so there's shit's everywhere too. But
Yeah, the
you
cabra.
get used to it. It kind of has a earthy smell to it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Pretty
cool.
soon your car starts to smell like it. And your fucking hotel room starts to smell. I mean, you just like, because it's just like dusting your gear and shit the whole time you're there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like you reek of feta. That's cool.
So when we were in Spain, I was living right around the corner from you.
Right. Like within like shouting distance almost.
Yeah.
No, definitely shouting distance.
Like if I had really felt like yelling,
yeah.
we could have easily communicated.
Yeah.
And I was like substantially closer to the bell. I was eye level with the bell. And the bell,
The notorious bell.
the notorious bell. So you did a little calculation.
Right.
He was like, what do you think I'm doing? And he's writing all these freaking numbers down. And I'm just like, I don't know. He's like calculating your time spent at OR or something.
Yeah.
So tell us about this calculation.
Okay.
Because if you're not aware of the bell of Cornadea, go back and listen to the Ethan Pringle episode, because I think that's where it figures most prominently in terms of the Enormocast.
Right. It's probably like ding, ding, ding.
But this thing, like this bell, was 100 feet from where I was staying,
Yeah.
if even
Yeah, and we were kind of more diagonal.
a little
to
bit.
it.
But you were probably 300 feet.
Yeah,
from that
I was
thing.
going to guess
Yeah.
300.
Yeah. So
So the bell rings once on the quarter hour, twice at the half hour, 3 times at 45, quarter till, and then 4 times at the hour, and then it'll ring the hour.
yeah,
Right.
but yeah, because it does 4 times to warn you that you need to like get ready to start counting
Right.
for the hour. So it goes, it hits the 4, and then there's a pause, and then if it's
Yeah.
9, it hits 9
Right.
or whatever.
Yeah. So we estimate it because it's like so every hour it rings like 10 times for
Right.
like the quarters and the changes, and then it rings the hours. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Right.
It does that twice a day. So it rings 540 times a day.
540 gongs, huge, and there's two tones.
2 tones. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's like the ding, 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 and then the bong, bong. And it was
Right.
actually like a microphone next to it.
Yeah, and then there's the loudspeaker that occasionally would come on and play the music, play like the Catalan national anthem,
Yeah.
and then make some announcements about. And one day, Bernardo, who lived below where I was staying, the photographer Bernardo Jimenez, he was talking about telling me what was being said.
Yeah.
And basically, it was an announcement about how there was a new shop opening in the square.
Oh,
one day.
really?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
cool.
That's what was going on. But then there would be random gonging in addition to the 540.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the 540 was minimum.
Yeah.
But then on church day, like they'd announce the church was opening.
Yeah.
Or some mornings it would just like freak out. Remember the freak outs?
It'd just be like ding dong. Yeah. Be crazy.
And you'd always text me like, what the fuck?
Can you hear the bell?
Yeah, I'm just like, yeah, I can hear it, James. It's right there. And then there would be, sadly there would be the wakes, and there'd just be a slow, like, droning for
Yeah.
a half an hour of
Yeah.
just like slow bongs.
Mm-hmm.
It's good we're talking about this because Bernardo, my friend Joseba, I was staying with, like, had no problem with the bell. And I was just like, you
Bad
can't
ears.
hear that? Like, he's like, nah. And he'd only been living there for a couple of days. He's like, I don't hear it. You know? Like,
Oh,
it's
really?
just- I mean, it doesn't bother me. But Bernardo, who'd lived below us, one floor down for a couple of years, it drove him crazy. So I was able to commiserate with Bernardo. And Bernardo was like, he wanted to, you know, he's like, I am working on getting the bell shut down. Mm-hmm. Because he was telling me that if you go on to like Travelocity or Yelp or whatever, is people come to Cornadea, tourists, and they're like, it's really great, it's beautiful, but and there's all these complaints, he said, on there about the bell.
Yeah.
So he's like, from what I understood, he's like trying to compile it all into like a file and just go to the church or the city or whoever is in charge of the fucking bell and say, look, like, I get the on the hour thing at least, but like, let's cut off the we didn't really explain it, but it rings like once on the quarter hour, twice on the half hour, three times on the you did say that,
and then on the hour, 4 times.
And he also told me that it actually used to ring all night.
Oh,
and there was actually like some sort of, you know, rebellion in town to be like, look, we gotta fucking shut this stupid bell off, because it does shut down at midnight. To when?
Like 5. Maybe?
Yeah, it was ridiculous. So I don't know. Anyway, the Bell of Cornadea.
Yeah,
it's funny because I had a listener email me or message me on Facebook about the bell. He's like, I'm in Cornadea, and actually, you know what? He shot a picture, and he was on your street.
Oh,
he was
yeah?
staying on your street.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And he was just like, dude, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
it's driving us nuts.
Yeah, the fucking bell. It's like, wow, Spain is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Except the bell. Yeah. God damn it.
And I've stayed in all those towns, like towns like that, and I've never heard one ring as often as that. Like, on the hour, you get it, right? It's old-timey. It's kind of quaint.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Especially if it like would have shut off at like 10.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah. But see, I really like Sirona. I like hung out with a bunch of like crusher sport climbers, which was really interesting.
Yeah.
Like there was a short period of time where it was like me, Ethan Pringle, Nina Caprez, and Jonathan Segrist all staying in this like apartment.
Yeah.
And I was like the only one who hadn't sent 9A.
Right.
Anyway, the cool thing about hanging out with all this like tough sport climbers was just like seeing how they live. You know, it's not just like they're like good because of like how disciplined they are, like off the rock as well.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, it's actually funny because I feel the same way because I was, you know, I lived right around the corner from you.
Right. Yeah.
And you know, it was the same. I feel the same way. Like it was the first time I was like really hanging out and like watching that. 'Cause
Yeah.
half the time when that's going on at the cliff, like I, you know, for my own personal reasons, go the other direction.
Right.
But you know, it's like I kind of like hung out. And I, you know, we both belayed Ethan quite a few times on this project and just watched the whole thing.
Yeah. It's cool. It's like an international scene.
Yeah, and it was super impressive and admirable. And for my own like climbing, it totally made me happy that I wasn't those guys.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, you always wish like, oh, I wish I could climb as well as them or do these routes.
Yeah.
But then, you know, in your heart of hearts, you're like, well, there's a reason I'm not.
Yeah.
It may be natural talent.
Yeah.
But it's probably also like either I'm not willing to, or I think more so it's just like, yeah, that's not my path because, you know, those guys like, you know, everybody, all the locals and everything else, it's like, you know, you go climb and then you go out and then you drink and then you hang out till super late and then you get up super late and you're like smoking cigarettes and you're like,
you know, these guys are.
Those dudes were not nowhere to be seen at the bar, you know, until Ethan finally showed up at the bar after he sent his route for like 20 minutes.
Yeah. And I mean, it was crazy, like, just seeing. So Nina was working on Lorena Mora, which is 9A. And then Ethan was working on Lorena Moore, and then Jonathan was working on La Rambla, which is 9A plus, so 14D and 15A, and essentially like same starts but different endings. And Nina was climbing. She was like doing well on it. She could do all the moves, and she was like making big links, but she wasn't doing as well as those two guys. And you could see like in her daily life, she was way more like, oh yeah, like let's go climbing, like whatever. Ethan, who eventually like red pointed Lorena Moore, was more like, okay, I'm gonna go climbing. I should eat salad for dinner. I'm gonna like do some massage and like post work, like do some push-ups and like stay fit and be mindful. And he eventually did the route. And then Jonathan, who was like climbing at a next level, he was just like, this is it. I came to Spain to send, and I am focused.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't think I ever saw him out. Like at the cliff, and then you know I came over and hung out with you guys, and like he fully ghosted like mid like conversation, because he was like, I'm out, I'm going to my room, and I'm gonna like listen to my tunes and like you know, get my good night's sleep, and
I'm gonna hang out.
Meanwhile, we finish the wine, and you know, and you're right, like, and it went in that order. Like then Ethan disappeared, and then it was me, you, and Nina, and then finally like the night was over, and she hung out, like so
and totally, it's like, you know, just about anybody can climb pretty hard. It's how much you're willing to like put into it and like really focus. And to some degree, it's discipline. It's also like, okay, well, how much are you prioritizing like your sleep, your eating, your like exercise and rest, and like your psychological state. Right. Those are they're important things. And that was more than like all the routes that I climbed and like just the different climbing that I got to experience abroad. That was probably the biggest lesson I took back from Spain, was like your performance is like, it's related to your level of dedication. Yeah. And focus. And it becomes even more acute, and you know, at that level, right? Like we can get away with being slobs. Right. Probably we still have a ways to go to get to our best. But yeah, and I think it's enlightening even that we're talking about it, because, you know, I guess the myth, and, you know, perpetuated just by the idea of climbing, is that, you know, these guys just are better climbers because they climb more. Yeah. You know, and they try harder. Yeah. And the truth is that it's not, I mean, they're better climbers, yes, because of all that, but then, you know, they're living this life that's kind of like the antithesis to a lot of the things I love about climbing. You know, because I love hanging out afterwards. I love going to the bar and shooting the shit with all these guys, and you know, in Indian Creek, like staying up late and drinking beers and so it's like, I know when I step back from that it's like, well, I have these climbing goals, and it would be great, and I know there's a certain place I can get to, but I'm like, I'm not going to go beyond that. People are like, why not? You could. It's like, well, yeah, I probably could, but, you know, then my quality of life is, I'm just not willing to do that. Yeah. You know, and that speaks to me, you know, about me is maybe I'm slightly lazy or whatever. I have different motivations. Yeah. But yeah, it's cool to see that it's not just like you got, in some ways it's cool because it's not like you just got a bad roll of the dice coming out of the womb or whatever. You know what I mean? Yeah, like, no. It's both disheartening because you know you don't have the discipline, or at least I do. But then it's also like, well, you know, at least it's not because I'm just like, you know, inferior in some like major way. So yeah, no, I think like it's someone who's dedicated will be able to climb way harder than someone with natural talent. Yeah, for sure. There'll be a place where it stops, the natural talent. I mean, I think that's pretty obvious. Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, and the cool thing is, you know, at times, and I'm sure this is maybe what you took away from it, you can say yes or no, but you know, you can incorporate some of that. Mm-hmm.
and just be like, all right, for the next couple months, I really want to do this thing. And so, it's like, what would Ethan Pringle do?
Yeah.
What would Ethan Pringle do?
Yeah.
So
it was more like, what would Jonathan Segrist do?
Actually, I'll go with I'll go with Jonathan Segrist.
Yeah, I was like, yeah.
Although I'll go, what would Tommy Caldwell do?
What would TC do?
At the very end of it.
Yeah, ultimately.
I mean, and that's when I'm like at the grocery store, I'm like, whatever I'm doing, I ask that question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So speaking of which, let's transition into that. So another thing that's happened to you since not since I saw you, but since last time we did a podcast, was that you were sort of a behind the curtains guy on the Dawnwall ascent.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you're as close as I've gotten to it on the Enormocast so far. So tell me about that. Tell me about what your deal was on that.
Well, so those guys, it was like December in the valley, and the only ones around were like, I was there, of course, because I'm like always there, which is good and bad. And then like Tommy and Kevin were there. Mm-hmm. It was really cool. Like I remember driving in like one night into the valley floor. It was like 7 or 8 o'clock at the beginning of December. Nobody's there because it's the middle of the week. I just come in to go bouldering and like try this short crack project, and like I saw their lights up on the wall.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And that was before
this was
the storm.
Yeah.
The media storm.
Yeah. And so
it was just them and a couple other dudes maybe.
No.
Nobody
else.
Okay.
Just those dudes. Like, yeah, the weather was great. It was like really good.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure like Tommy a month later was longing for those days.
Yeah, for sure. And then they like, over the years I've like randomly helped those guys. Like Kevin forgot a haul bag at the base like during a storm, and so I like ran up there and picked it up because he'd gone to like the bay and Tommy left, and I think I'd maybe done some other rigging work for him, something. But I was like in between rest days, and Arnold had been like, "Oh, you should go up there and like say hi for moral support." They were like on their push. They like went 1,200 feet up to their base camp, and I was like, "Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, I'll go say hi." So I like talked to Kevin. I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna come up. Do you need anything?" And he was like, "Yeah. Can you get me some bourbon and some sour Skittles?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm sure. That's like no problem." And so I was like packing my bag, and I had all that stuff in there. And then I got this text from Tommy, and he was like, "Oh, hey, you're coming up?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, do you think you can like grab a couple things for me too?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." He's like, "Okay, go into my van. Okay, drive the van to the village. Okay, so can you put together 5 like Mojo bars, 5 Cliff bars, 5 vanilla protein Cliff bars? We need 2 things of pasta, 2 things of like trail mix. We need 8 things of salami. Can you get some bagels? Can you go into the store and get lettuce, tomato, onion, 1 bell pepper, some cilantro? Okay, put it in the haul bag. Maybe somebody else can bring it up." Oh, there's also this like 400-foot rope that we're going to use to rig the photographers. If you could like just kind of put that all in a pile, that'd be great. And then drive my van back to El Cap Meadow. Oh, it'd be really cool if you could bring that stuff up for us, actually. And so all of a sudden I went from like having this active rest day with like some Skittles and bourbon,
right,
to
like jugging along,
to
no
just
problem,
cruising along, to like carrying like a few thousand pounds of shit,
right? Because a 400 static line is not light, even by itself.
No, that thing was heinous. They used it to like pull Brett Lowell out from the wall.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And so then it was like, okay, I ended up like doing some rigging up there, which was kind of cool. There's like one night, I helped drop a rope down from the top, and Brett was like on the other side of the wall, and he was getting Jumar out this other way, and he was like going up, and as he got to the top, the rope, he like looked up and the rope had like been cut.
Oh, right. Somebody cut.
Yeah. So we don't know who it is. Jim Byer.
Right.
This person had like chopped the bolts off the top of the dom wall, and so the rope had just like gotten wrapped around this huge flake. Another rigger had like gone to was at the top and like dropped a rope to Brett, and that kind of like in the process they dislodged this like, I don't know, maybe like a mini fridge size block that came like right off the top of El Cap, which was pretty scary. It went like, I was further over right, but it went maybe like 20 feet behind Tommy, who was belaying. And then Brett was like, it like whizzed right by Brett's head, and he was pretty nervous about the whole thing. And so I was like alone on the wall with those guys and hanging out, like, and that I wasn't sure what was going on. And so they're like, "Oh, Peaches, you're here. Do you want to just hold on to this?" And they'd like clip the haul line to me. And then they're like, "Oh, do you want to just like, maybe you could set up the haul?"
Right.
Oh, hey, while you're up there, do you think you could just try pulling the bag up a little bit? Let's see if it'll leave the belay. Yeah, that's good. Keep pulling. Yeah, and so it was like, all of a sudden it was like 10 o'clock at night, and I'm like at the top of, I've like hauled. Like,
this is all on the
pitches.
same day.
Yeah, this is all. Oh no! So like bringing the sour Skittles and stuff up.
That was a different day.
That was a different day.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I was there for like the day they topped out.
And then you were there for the cleanup crew, right?
Yeah, and then like Tommy, Kevin, and I like wrapped the wall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which was
Those guys didn't just send you down there.
Well, so they they left their haul bag up there, like on one of the ledges. Right before the top out, and they're like, "Oh, one of us needs to go down there and free the haul bag, and then Jumar back up, and like whatever, it'll be easy." And Kevin's like, "Oh, Ellen DeGeneres just called me.
I gotta go.
and Tommy's like, "Oh, look,
She called me too.
Yeah, she just called me too." I'm like, "Oh, what
I gotta wait here and wait for the president to call.
Yeah,
I can't go down there."
Yeah, I'm like, well, fuck. I guess Rosie O'Donnell's never gonna call me. I'll go down there.
All right.
Yeah. So, yeah, and then like we wrapped the wall and we pulled all their stuff off.
Hopefully, you'll get a dedication in the book.
Yeah, seems unlikely.
I'll put the word in for you.
Yeah. But it was an interesting experience because it was like I was on the wall a lot, like rigging and hanging out, and all of a sudden I'd like look down at El Cap Meadow and there'd be like 3 semis like lined up in the meadow.
Like satellite.
Yeah, with
production
huge
trucks
satellites on them. And then when we topped out, there's like when those guys topped out, you know, I walked up at like 5 a.m. and wrapped in. And like by the time we were like coming out, there's just like photo people just dangling off the edge, and like people on the summit with like
trying to get the shot.
Yeah, with their laptops, like with mini satellites to like upload these images, and it was a gong show for sure.
Well, it's you know, anybody who's climbed in Yosemite, it's used to having all those cars, and it's a total shit show in the summer.
Yeah, in the summer.
And in the wintertime, I mean, it's because I climbed El Cap in the winter, you know, and it was just like you'd look down and it would be empty, and then you'd see like one car for like 5 minutes, and then it'd be empty for another 2 hours, and like nobody's there normally.
Yeah, I think like in July and August count for roughly like 46% of park visitation.
Right.
You know, like, and the months like before and after count for another like 20 or 30%.
Right.
So like within like the 4 months of summer, essentially 4 or 5 months, it's like insanely busy. The rest of the time, empty.
Right. Or chill anyway.
Yeah,
So-
chill. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of wild. It's just amazing, like, how lucky they got with the weather.
Yeah. Oh,
know?
super lucky.
You know, it's like, because that's just, I mean, I guess it's, nowadays it's like more common probably because of the sort of the drought and all that business. But normally, years ago or whatever, like, you're not going to get 20 days of splitter weather in January. And they just needed a couple day storm to plaster the wall and the thing was over. They were done. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a crazy amount of luck that went into the final send.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's demoralizing enough to have a storm come in and shut you down. But, you know, at the end of 7 years, it's like it would just be, you know, I mean, who knows how I mean, I think Tommy said at times like he, you know, was not sure this was like a never ending thing. Like, you know, like he probably was going to finally be like, screw it, I'm done. Totally. So, yeah, I mean, it's incredible. 20, I mean, they were what, 17, 18 days?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, I just like kind of rounded up to 20, but still.
Yeah.
2.5 weeks of, they had a little bit of weather, but whew,
yeah, crazy.
Yeah. So, anyway, good on them.
Yeah. Yeah, good for them.
And then it like, did it just like clear out?
Yeah. Then like the day after, like within 6 hours of them sending.
Yeah.
Empty again.
The deer are back like gingerly walking across the meadow again, just like looking around.
Yeah, totally. And then like I got some money for rigging, and like 2 days later I was in Spain. It worked out like super well for me. Yeah. I was psyched.
So another thing that's happened to you since the last time we talked, and is something we really need to hash out, is that since we last time we talked, and actually since Spain, so since the last time I saw you, you climbed the Freerider. You free climbed the Freerider.
Yeah.
Not only did you free climb the Freerider, but you did it in a day.
Yep.
And that's awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
And did you like, what happened? Did you just carry the fitness from Spain and just send, or what was the difference? What happened? I mean, you've been working on this thing for a while.
Yeah.
Right.
I think a lot of it came down to like having.
Or was it the Jonathan Segris mode?
Yeah, I think a lot of it was partly that. Like, I was maybe a little more fit, like marginally, but a lot of it came down to like being more focused. And I was just like, okay, like I flew back. I left Cornudea, and I think 5 days later I was on the top of El Cap. And I was just like, okay, this is what I'm doing. Okay. I'm like wrapping in. I'm going to climb the Crocs. Okay. I'm going to rest the next day. Day after that, I'm wrapping in. I'm going to climb the Crocs, and I'm going to climb the corner. Okay. Rest. Then the day after that, I'm going to climb the Crocs, climb the corner. Okay. Rest. Then I'm going to climb the monster. I'm going to climb the Crocs. I'm going to climb the corner. Rest. Okay, I'm going to do it again and again and again. And I was just like way more focused this season.
And more methodical.
More methodical.
Right.
And I was like, okay, what am I eating? What time am I going to bed? Like, I had those things lined up before I like woke up.
Okay.
I was like, okay, like on my rest day, I'm like planning out like how I'm going to rest in like my next few days and like my performance. And I squeaked it in almost before this like big storm that came into the valley. And so I like climbed it in like 15 hours. And like the first
dude, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
awesome.
psyched. Yeah, there's like,
did you, when you finally got it all sorted out and you went to try to climb in a day, did you do it the first time you tried it?
Yeah. So the first time this season.
Right.
So this season compared to other seasons, this season I trained so that I could try it like twice. The thing is like doing that, making an attempt on like El Cap, trying to like free in a day and like failing, it's really hard to try it again that season.
Right.
You need to rest for a few days, and you need like the weather to hold out. But this season I was like, okay, I'm training so I can like be able to try it twice. And so like my first go, I was like, oh, cool. Like this is a training run.
I've got another one.
I've got another one. I've got the time. I was like a little more relaxed, climbing well. My friend Austin like supported me, just Jumard. This was like my 5th time trying to do it in a day.
Right.
And so I had like a lot of stuff worked out. What time I should start, what gear I should bring.
Mm-hmm.
I whittled like El Cap down.
Sure.
To like a sport route. Like, I know that sounds silly, but I mean that's
but the
fully
sport
what I
routes
did.
don't have the monster off-wist. They don't have
No.
the hollow flake even, which isn't
No.
that hard, but it's,
Yeah.
you know, it's,
You're not
you
like-
got to wiggle around, and all
Yeah.
those pitches
Yeah.
in between, you know, there in the tower have like some squeezing and some
Yeah.
like thuggy
Yeah.
deep arm climbing, and
Yeah, I short fixed and it
Yeah.
felt like I was soloing on some stuff. Soloing
that's
with the
awesome,
rope on.
man. I mean, 15 hours is rad.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's, I mean, what do you think you probably pitched it out at? In the 20s? How many pitches?
Yeah.
I mean,
maybe.
even doing it like shenanigans,
Yeah.
you must still be doing like 20 some pitches.
Yeah,
on the
I think
thing.
like it's 30 something
Yeah.
in the guide.
Yeah. And so
So-
even if you fart around and like clean some up or mix them up, you're probably in the high 20s.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's-
there's off with climbing above too.
Mhm.
There's the frickin' Scotty Burke
Yeah.
off with that's not easy. And
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
really, really psyched because
it's not like you can climb that kind of climbing automatically just zoom through it.
yeah, no, it's slow.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I'm not like the best climber in the world, you know, like the hardest.
Nearly.
Yeah. I mean, I've climbed like 13B and the Freerider is 13A. The crux is at my physical limit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things that's always like I've loved about Yosemite is that it demands like a mastery of all climbing skills, and especially this route, you know, it was like I had to be able to like off with, I had to be able to like boulder really hard. I had to sport climb, like do pumpy crack climbing,
Mm-hmm.
when I'm fatigued, and then have like the mental capacity to like strategize and move fast. So yeah, it was like a really like big accomplishment for me personally.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so psyched.
Yeah, and to smoke it that fast too is awesome. You
Yeah.
weren't like dragging your ass over the summit at like
Yeah.
23:44 or something
Yeah.
like that. You
Yeah.
know.
I got to the top and I was like, oh, I still have time in the day. And then I walked over to some bushes and went, just dry heaved. Oh yeah.
Did you?
I was like, this is my glorious moment.
Why? Because you're dehydrated or what?
I'm like dehydrated,
Right.
fatigued.
Uh huh.
Oh god, I was just worked.
Nice.
Yeah. I was like, it only took me 4 years to do it in a day.
That's awesome though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like 30 minutes a pitch.
Yeah.
You know. So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah. Thanks.
So post Freerider, man.
right.
What are you just like? Did you just like walking on clouds?
Oh man. So I had this great month of climbing in the spring. I like sent a V8 boulder problem.
Sick.
Yeah, which is really hard for me. And then like a little bit later, I sent some 13B at Jailhouse. This was all within like 2 weeks. I had bouldered my hardest, did like one of my hardest sport climbed, Freedale cap in a day, and then it just went to shit.
Really?
Yeah,
Well-
it was just like
Yeah, but you got to remember what would J Star do?
yeah, he.
I mean, you had to
like
go on
rest.
rest cycle.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, and so I like started my rest cycle.
And that's like a total myth as well, or is that you just climb more and you just keep getting better?
yeah, I know you
Right.
gotta like take some breaks.
Yeah.
And so I started running. I went to a bunch of yoga classes.
Nice.
I went to like within like 3 weeks. I went to 12 or 13 yoga classes.
Great way to meet ladies, I've heard.
Yeah, you would think so.
I mean, they're there.
Yeah,
Lots of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think maybe I was going to the wrong yoga classes.
Where were you?
I was
Where were the yoga
I was
classes?
in Berkeley.
No, I think that's the right place to be.
Oh really? Oh man, because like I was going to like yoga for geriatrics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I went to one class where there was like people standing on their heads and stuff like that.
Like legit, like yoga people, yogis.
Yeah, and I could not do that. Like I couldn't touch my toes. Mm-hmm. I still can't.
Right.
And that's what I realized about yoga, is that I think it's kind of useless for rock climbing.
You think so?
Yeah, I don't really think you need to be that flexible for rock climbing.
I would agree with you. I think, I mean, you know, I'll probably get letters from the yoga people, but you know, I think it's good to be, you know, healthily flexible.
Yeah.
Like you can't be a total stiff. Although my friend Michael Logan, who's been on the show, he's admittedly like one of the more inflexible people in the world, and he climbs really hard.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I think it's obviously helpful to be, you know, reasonably athletically flexible.
Right.
But to be able, I mean, being able to do all those weird, like crazy bends and things.
Yeah.
Like, no.
You're better off like spending your time on a campus board or a hangboard or.
It really comes down to that, my friend.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's, you know, the argument that I always have. Like, yeah, in a perfect world, you know, if I was like independently wealthy and I just could wake up each morning and be fit and do fitness things, then yeah. But in a world where like my climbing time's limited and therefore my training time is even more limited. Yeah. In the end, for me, you know, a 13A, 13B climber, anytime I could get away to train upper body and grip strength, that's what I should be doing.
Yeah.
You know?
Totally.
Versus even running.
Yeah.
Right. And in fact, when the first time I saw Tommy do his presentation on the Dawn Wall, and my ears like totally perked up because he said that one of the things he did last summer was cut out all the cardio.
Right. Yeah.
And just focus on strength training.
Yeah.
And I was like, see? Yeah. You see? I stood up in the auditorium. I'm like, you hear that, everybody? Quit getting on my ass about running.
Yeah. Remember when we were out in we climbed that arete one day in Tijuana?
Uh-huh.
I'd gone running that morning.
Oh yeah,
and
totally
I was like,
screwed yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, why did I go running this morning? That was such a bad idea. You like hiked the arete.
I didn't hike it, but I did pull it off.
Yeah, you did first try.
Yeah,
and I was up there like lobbing 30 and 40 feet. Like,
that's right.
Like
taking those big wingers bouncing off the arete.
Yeah, screaming.
Yep. Yeah, and it was all. Yeah, you were when I talked to you that morning, you were all stoked on this huge run you'd done.
Yeah,
it's like I don't know, dude. I don't know if that was a good idea or not.
No, horrible.
Overall, maybe I don't know. Obviously, again, being sort of athletically aerobic, you can't be a total slug.
Right.
But yeah, it's time spent. So I mean, nobody listens to this podcast for training advice. If you do, you're
listening to
go
the
to
wrong
Training
podcast.
Beta.
Yeah.
Training Beta. Neely will tell you what you're really supposed to do.
Yeah.
Do not listen to me.
Yeah, Neely knows what's up.
Yeah, she knows what's up, and her guests know what's up. So, and some of the same guests have been on my show, and we talk about drinking. Yeah. So, yeah, don't come here. But at the same time, Tommy Caldwell. I mean, you know, he's no slouch.
Yeah, that guy's
what would
an
TC
athlete.
do?
Yeah, what would TC do? So, yeah, I guess post Freerider, I'm gonna try and figure out something to do with my life. So like,
it's like the opposite of post-traumatic stress disorder. It's like post-triumph stress disorder. Like now you're just empty.
Yeah.
Like all your effort was put into this thing and you actually achieved it. And now you're just like, okay.
Yeah. I mean,
whoops.
It was like,
maybe I should have had other interests.
Yeah. Like last year is like my car broke down. I didn't have any money. I didn't have a home. All of a sudden I was like in Yosemite Village, like scraping like 3 inches of ketchup slime out of the inside of a garbage can to like make enough money to like get a new car.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you were eating that.
Well,
I was like, wow, dude, I would have sent you some bucks, man. Like, well, I would have tied you over.
Yeah, I didn't want to.
At least you could have been eating the ketchup out of the packets.
Yeah, I didn't want to admit it on the radio. Right. It's like, yeah.
But that made you go to Spain in a way, didn't it?
Well,
like
so I was
motivate
doing
you
that.
To like shake it up a little bit.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, I'm cleaning these trash cans. I got I gotta do something with my life. Okay, I'm gonna go to Spain, and then I'm gonna try and send the Freerider. Yeah. And
Self-actualization.
Yeah.
That's what that's called.
yeah.
So.
And then now that I've done it, it's like, well, I'm not inside of a garbage can. I don't know what I'm doing.
And nobody can see James, but he was like rubbing his temple through that whole thing.
Yeah.
Just like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Well, the Enormo bump is something.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I've got like a few things lined up. I'm gonna be working on like a bouldering guide in the valley, and then always like continuing with my writing projects. Hopefully, get into some like video production work somehow. I've gotten like a little more into stand-up comedy over the years.
Mm-hmm. Doing some open mics.
Yeah, like so.
Those are online, right?
Yeah, and they're online.
I'm gonna link them up.
Okay. So I've done like 5 shows in Salt Lake City, like small open mics. And then I did a show in Vancouver at this comedy club. These were the ones in Salt Lake City were also like at this comedy club.
Mm-hmm.
But the Vancouver show's the best. I like kind of aggregated all my material and used it in Vancouver. And it's super fun, but it takes like a ton of work. It's so hard to like figure out new jokes.
Right.
You're just like grinding it out, like trying this stuff that just
on your friends.
Yeah, on your
they're
friends.
Just like, yeah, well, you tried that. You did that one yesterday.
Yeah, they're like,
yeah, we heard that one.
Yeah, James, I heard the one where you say I'm pulling out like I'm Catholic. I heard that from you 3 years ago and 5 years ago.
Do you ever have problems too, like where you kind of create like not just climbing, but I guess climbing specific sort of humor?
Yeah.
And you're just like, okay, well now I'm standing in a club or I'm on stage in front of all these people that like will not get this thing that like, killed them in the Camp 4 boulders the other day.
Yeah, it's like, man, I was at like Yosemite facelift and I told all these people that I climb up to 514 on El Cap. I climb up to it and then ate right through it.
Boom, brunts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You tell that in like at the Punchline in San Francisco and people are like, there's just like the sounds of crickets. And there's no fucking crickets in San Francisco.
No.
Like maybe there's some in Oakland, but they've probably been shot.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll link. I'll link those that you're. I've seen a couple of them.
Yeah.
Because I think you either sent me them or I made you send me one or something, and you're getting laughs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you, because I listen. Everybody listens to the show. Like Mark Maron is sort of my bread and butter. Mm-hmm. The WTF, and he talks to comedians, and a lot of times they come around to like the beginnings and doing open mics and how brutal it is. Mm-hmm. And there's plenty of these guys who are like superstar professionals that'll talk about just like trying to do 2 minutes and just bombing, having no jokes.
Oh yeah.
And just like, and how brutal it is because people are like, they're kind of cutthroat on the open micers.
Yeah.
Or it depends on the crowd, I suppose, but
yeah, I actually like had that happened a bunch this like last fall and spring. I had this really good idea that like, nobody tells like small dick jokes, right? And so I was like, okay, I'll like start telling people I have a small dick and I'll figure out a joke from that, right? And so I'd go around and I'd be like, oh yeah, I've got a small penis, so and then I'd try and think of a joke and it just wound up that people thought I had a small penis. which isn't like so bad because like girls when they see it they're like, well, it's bigger than I expected.
Is that the punchline?
I guess so. Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah,
it's not bad. Just something to work with there.
Yeah. There's something to work with.
Yeah, some timing issues where the beats are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Pretty good, man.
Yeah. So we'll see.
You got anything else?
Yeah. I mean, just like bad jokes about like, I tried to like go see a doctor about like having my small penis. And he just kind of shook his head and he said, you have a perfectly normal, above average sized clitoris. It's fine. It's not something you need to worry about. And so I was like, oh my God.
No, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
You gotta cut it right there.
Okay.
That's the end of your joke.
Okay.
Yeah. Boom.
Boom.
Abnormal to above average size clitoris. That was a good joke.
Yeah.
And I think that's the first time clitoris has been said on the Enormocast.
Oh, really?
So well played, sir.
Yeah. Colin Haley. I was trying to tell this joke to Colin Haley.
Okay.
He really likes jokes. And he was like, he didn't laugh at all.
Really?
No, he just looked at me and said, isn't it pronounced clitoris?
He's going to be on the show later.
You should ask him.
See, that's funny.
Say, so where are you from? And then, like, maybe you can figure out people's accent.
Right.
By how,
based on how they say that word.
yeah.
Right
Be
on.
like, okay, can you,
Is it clitoris or clitoris?
yeah. Can you please describe a piece of
Growing up, did you say? All right. No, that's a funny bit.
Yeah.
I'm giving you that one.
You
that's
think
a funny,
that's-
I think it's a
okay.
funny bit.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So-
but I've had a couple beers.
Yeah.
But so have most people in a comedy club.
yeah.
So I think you're fine.
Yeah.
I think you're totally fine. So you guys need to be like a comedy team.
Yeah.
The straight man,
Yeah.
and the jokester.
Yeah. Colin actually knows a lot of good jokes.
Does he?
Well, he knows a lot of bad jokes. Which means he knows like one or two good ones.
Right.
Yeah.
So is he like, what's his delivery like?
Pretty dry.
Okay.
Yeah.
See what I can get out of him.
Yeah,
Later
yeah.
on.
You should see. He's actually a pretty funny guy.
Nice.
Yeah, he's like nerdy and a little weird.
Yeah,
but
totally.
quirky.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. Well, cool, James. We've just bashed out another hour.
Nice.
Part 3. I mean,
yeah. Classic.
totally. And I love the way, it's like,
Fast
it's
Times
like
with
every
Police.
few, it's like every 25, 30 episodes, like there's a James Lucas episode. So
Yeah.
we'll just have to keep that trend going. Or
Yeah.
maybe we'll do one a little sooner.
Yeah, sure.
But whatever. Listen, man, good luck.
Yeah, thanks.
And thanks for your time as usual.
Yeah.
And, is there a way for people to pay attention to what you're doing?
I'm on Facebook.
Okay.
You can find me on MySpace.
All friends.
I'm actually like,
if you have a time machine,
Yeah.
you can go back and find him on MySpace.
yeah. It's actually like mostly playing like my parents' like heavy metal band.
Right.
But you can send me a message on there too.
It sounds good, but
Swipe right on Tinder.
are you right? Swipe right on Tinder. Are you on Tinder? Please say yes.
Yes.
You have to have a Tinder account.
Yeah.
If you don't have one, start one immediately. Okay, so he's going to start his Tinder account. So look for him on Tinder. Now, are you do you accept all comers on your Facebook page? Like,
pretty much, unless you're like, unless you're annoying.
right?
Yeah. So
I like sometimes the business interests. I don't
yeah.
unless okay.
I like business interests.
Yeah, no, beat it.
I blocked like Cedar Wright.
Yeah, well,
that
who
kind of
has
thing.
it?
Yeah.
I think half of Facebook's blocked that guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, cool. Well, look for that. Are you still blogging?
Oh yeah, I have
Okay.
a blog. It's www.thewalkingmonkey.com.
Okay, cool.
And I have all my writing on there.
Okay, right on.
Yeah.
So thewalkingmonkey.com, Facebook, future Tinder, Tinder account. And
that's embarrassing.
come on. You're a single guy, right? Or are you marginally single?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, I asked this.
That means you're single. If you're not sure.
Yeah, I asked this girl if we were dating, and she said, sometimes.
That's it. That's the end.
bikes in the back of the Saturn station wagon.
Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me neither.